Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
For the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
Yes. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound. Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and this is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Check the rock. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us alongside Paulie Sibilia. I'm Stephen Fonte. It's a Tuesday edition of Orange Nation. We're wide open here in hour number one. We've got two guests for you in hour number two. Jim Root, college basketball writer, podcaster of the Three-Man Weave and Basket Under Review. He'll be on with us at 1 o'clock. We'll talk SU basketball. We'll talk ACC basketball with Jim Root. And then Jack McMullen, Cuse guy, host of the Just Baseball podcast, and, of course, the Marlins radio play-by-play man. We'll talk baseball with our good friend Jack McMullen, coaching tree, coming up at 1:30. Our World Series is now set. Dodgers, Blue Jays will start in Toronto on Friday night.
It was a fun game last night. Look, if you don't have any skin in the game, that was fun.
Yeah, can you imagine being a Mariners fan?
I know one. There's one in this office.
Oh, that's right. How's he holding up today? Did you see him?
He just looked down and defeated. Yeah, it was not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking. The Blue Jays have had some wild home runs in postseason. I like the Bautista bat flip, Joe Carter jumping up and down around the bases.
Yeah.
Springer last night. How does TV react to that? Because when the Blue Jays end up in the World Series, like ratings wise,
well, do you think
Canada's going to watch?
Do you think it would have been a lot different if the Mariners were in? I don't know.
No, but
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but at least the Mariners are in the United States. Does that make sense? Like you're not getting TV market.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I mean, I think it was a great finish. I couldn't help but think, like, as I was watching the play and the replays and the way they win, the adrenaline that had to be pulsating through his veins when he just once I want to experience something like that in life where you get that kind of adrenaline rush. And I mean, can you imagine what that must feel like?
No. I can't. I can't imagine it, and I also can't imagine. I was watching and thinking about the pitcher in the ninth inning. I would be so scared and terrified. Right. I'd be throwing the ball all over the place.
Well, in any you're saying to close out the game. I was thinking about the guy who gave up the home run, and then right after that, how you react right after you just cost your team the World Series. And sure enough, he gave up a couple of hits right after that as well, and then they were able to work out of the inning. But the pressure that is involved in a game like that for the pitcher, for the hitter, and then you're right, everything that happens after that.
Like Julio Rodriguez swung at a bunch of sliders that were way out of the zone.
Yeah,
but we argue with people on our chats about the quarterback play and whatnot. Like, who the hell are we to say that he's swinging at bad pitches? You don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
You can't imagine what that looks like.
You look at that inning, the ninth inning as a whole, he struck out the side, and all three batters struck out on a pitch that was out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
But in that spot, it's got to be like the first guy who was up. It was a 3-2 pitch. If he lays off, you get the leadoff guy on, and then who knows what happens from there. But it's easier said than done to lay off a pitch like that.
I don't think the average person realizes either that those sliders leaving his hands
look good.
Yeah, they start at your at your letters.
In the strike zone.
And you've got to react.
Yeah.
You've got to decide whether or not that ball's going to break or not. Who the hell am I?
As Springer was rounding the bases and got in the dugout, the reason I brought up the part about, I wish that I could feel like that adrenaline once in your life. I don't know if you saw after he put the jacket on and he was like, high-fiving everybody and goes out and gets his curtain call. He goes back in the dugout and it was almost like he kind of like buried his head in his hands for a second. It was just almost like, oh my God, what did I just, what just happened? And it was like hitting him in that moment, like the reality of what he just did. And that's like one of those life-changing moments. Like that was iconic. If they go out and win the World Series, like he's
not buying a drink in Canada for the rest of his life.
Yeah, ever. So
the other thing that stuck out to me last night after the game was just something that'll never happen in my lifetime, like with my career, is what Vlad Guerrero Jr. did. Like, did you see his reaction? He just fell to his knees and like started crying and was like thanking God. And it was like, he's like, because he wants to get a ring for his dad. And it was just, it's wild. Yeah. It
is wild.
I'll never hit the pinnacle of radio.
That was not how you reacted when we won our first award, but.
No. The third one, though.
So if that didn't do it, if the first one didn't do it, then the third one certainly didn't do it.
Steve, there's a question going around.
Yeah.
Syracuse in central New York. And it's a stupid question. I'll preface it with that. I saw a local blog. Is that what they are? They still blogs?
Sure.
Asked the question, and it's like, are you out on Fran Brown? And I think that's a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
Who cares if you're out on Fran? Like, you can call in and share your opinion and tell us you're out on Fran Brown, just like you can. We're out on Coach Autry. But who cares? Right? It's not our decision of who's the coach or if we're out on them. As soon as they start winning again, if they do, you'll be right back in on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at that question. The other way for me to look at that question is, if you're out on Fran Brown, like, what are you anticipating here?
Who are you in on?
Who are you in on? Yeah, right. That's the follow-up question, right? Because, again, look at what he has done. Do we all agree that if Steve Angeli doesn't get hurt, this season looks different? I mean, I don't know how much different, but in position to go to a bowl game, certainly.
Yeah, I think they're at least 500 right now.
Yeah, well, right. So they played 7 games. So you're saying they're at least 4-3.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I tend to think that they're getting to a bowl game if Steve Angeli's healthy, and maybe they even get to 7 or 8. For him to win 10 in his first year, and then be trending in that direction to win 7 or 8 against this schedule, and to go to back-to-back bowl games, and the recruits that he's brought in, and the talent he's brought in out of the portal. Was the Pitt game, a rough game for him and the team? Of course it was, and he owned up to that. And no coach is going to make the right decision 100% of the time. But to even suggest that you're out on him at this point, I just think that's a bizarre thing.
They're a game under 500.
I just think it's a bizarre thing to ask. And if you're, like you said, if you're out on him, who are you in on? What are you expecting? What is the expectation here? And, I kind of look at it like, and I said this before, and I think I'm wrong. And what I said before was I don't think it'll ever get back to the 90s, the way that SU football was in the national spotlight year in and year out in the 90s. I said I don't know if it can ever get back to that point, and I was skeptical. Fran Brown is making me change my mind about whether or not that is possible. And it's not going to happen this year. They're not in the national spotlight right now. But I firmly believe that they're going right back in the national spotlight next year. And I think as long as he's here, he's going to keep them relevant and nationally relevant. And I didn't think that was possible for a long time during that 20-year drought between, 2001 and, I know during Dino, they had the 110-win season, but I just didn't see that success being sustainable, but Fran Brown has made me think that it is sustainable here. It can be sustainable.
Yeah. The other thing is I kind of look at this as Fran's first year as head coach. Last year, it was a mature football team. It was a bunch of seniors and senior quarterback. Everything worked out. This is his first year with his guys, and they're young, and you just got to let it build. And this could have easily been last year if they don't get a Kyle McCord, if he doesn't talk the guys into staying.
Right. Yeah, Marlo Wax and Rondé Gadsden and on down the list. They were a veteran group last year.
Yeah, and, everybody says, well, he got Dino's guys. In this era, Dino's guys could have left.
Sure.
And they stayed with him.
Right.
So he got them to stay.
Right. Why don't we play the comment from Fran after the game? Do you have it open, the message to the fans? Because he delved into this a little bit regarding how young they are and that, brighter days are ahead. So after the game, I did ask him if he had a message for the fans who were, disappointed with 3 straight losses and kind of where things were right now. And here's how he responded.
I mean, I've said that we're building a program, right? And when you're building a program, it just happens that way, right? We brought in a lot of older veteran guys last year, and you can see that our philosophy, the game plan, all that stuff works. But you got to have the players that have experience, right? Sometimes experience is better than super talented guys. I got a lot of super talented young guys. I got offensive linemen, all the freshmen that are true freshmen right now that probably won't play this year. You got 6'8", 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", and all of them are 315 and bigger, right? All the receivers can run, all of those guys, right? We got a lot of 10-4, 10-5 guys here on campus. When you look at some of the freshmen that are ready, Antoine, Demetrius, and then the list goes on the opposite side of the ball. And I mean, look at the 26 recruiting class. They all here on campus. I know a lot of people think, well, y'all lost, they're not going to come. They all going to come. We'll get all those guys to come, and then more different people will go. We'll keep a top recruiting class in the country.
So, and he goes on from there. It was a lengthy answer, but I thought it was a very detailed answer. And I love the confidence he has there in there. Everybody thinks they're going to leave. Everybody's staying. Everybody's coming. He feels locked in with this class. And, I think he firmly believes that the talent, and he said this earlier in the year, right? He said, come 2026, he said, there's not going to be a difference between other programs and Syracuse from a talent perspective, top to bottom and depth-wise. He feels like they have done very well in recruiting, which they have. They've gone out and they've done well in the portal as well. He's been able to establish his philosophy and this, this Dart mentality for the last couple of years. I think he looks at 2026 and beyond as, all right, things are going to really get rolling. And this is unfortunate what has happened, but in a way, it can be a blessing in disguise in that I think you're going to learn a lot about the guys in the program. You're going to learn a lot about the leadership right now. You're going to learn a lot about the coach. It's easy for everything to go well when you're winning. Things aren't going well right now. Who's with me type of thing. And so I think Fran is going to be able to identify, who the leaders on this team are, who's in it for the long haul, who cares about the block S, as he always says. And so they might, this is uncomfortable now, they might collectively as a team be stronger for it on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is let's let this year play out. See if they get a couple more wins, maybe 3. And you can't predict what's going to happen next year. Don't know who's going to be here. You don't we praise Angeli. He beat UConn and Clemson and Colgate.
Yeah,
Let's hold off on the Heisman Award for me. The offense looks better with him on it, but if he gets hurt again, you're right back in this situation again next year. We went into this year, oh my goodness, that schedule's tough. Look, they got a road win at Clemson because Clemson wasn't as good as everybody thought they were going to be. And now the game we thought they could probably pick off on the road is probably their hardest conference road game in Georgia Tech. Let's
Miami, I would say.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't even put Miami up there anymore because they who knows what Miami you're going to get. Man.
Yeah, I still think, if you ask me today, I realize we've hashed out the schedules and who has the inside track to the ACC title game and so on and so forth. If you ask me today, though, who's the best team in the ACC, I still think the best team in the ACC is Miami, even though they lost a game by 3 in a game where, Carson Beck had 4 turnovers. They laid an egg, it bit them, they lost. I still think they're probably the best team in the conference, but I understand what you're saying. The thing with Angeli is, yes, you can look at it and say, well, it was just UConn, Colgate, and a Clemson team that's down. However, I would say in terms of like the eye test, we saw him from the fourth quarter of UConn on. He can make all the throws. He can make all the plays. Yes, the offense was running incredibly smoothly with him. And when they beat Clemson, like the Clemson team we're seeing now, they seem broken. Their spirit is gone. They've kind of packed it in.
Syracuse might have done that too.
That's what I was going to say, is that I don't think that was the team that Syracuse saw. I think Syracuse kind of made them that team. They scored on the first drive. They got the onside kick. They went for it on fourth down. They had a 10-0 lead before Clemson even touched the ball. They dominated them that day in all three phases. And I think that to me, I look at it as that was the turning point for Clemson. Now we see the Clemson team that Syracuse made them. But I don't know that Clemson was bad, quote unquote, when Syracuse played them. I think Syracuse outplayed them, and the Tigers have kind of packed it in since then.
Yeah, the only difference I say with like the Angeli thing is like I want to see a larger group of games put together. Like we could sit here and say they would have won one of the games, two of the games. We don't know that.
Right. We don't know. We'll never know. Right.
Yeah. He could go out and throw a skunk game like McCord did against Pitt last year. It happens to everybody. So just, let's get through this year first. Let's hope they go out and play better. They don't turn the ball. They're going to be in games, I think, if they don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest problem is the interceptions. Yeah.
And we saw the punt return was a backbreaking play. Those game-changing type plays, they can't have. They lost the turnover battle in all three of these losses. That's not a coincidence. The turnover battle is so very important in the game of football, certainly in college football. And when you're going up against a team that is better than you, and we've seen that, the last few weeks now with, the SMUs and Pitts and Duke for that matter. All three of those teams are better than Syracuse. You can't go up against a team that's better than you and lose the turnover battle and expect to win. And it's it's not a recipe for success. So I'm with you. They got to take better care of the football, and they've got to defensively play like they did against Pittsburgh. They played very well defensively.
Yeah, Tampa Ron says he looks forward to seeing the growth on defense, and here's Fran Brown on that very topic.
It was something that we talked about at halftime versus SMU. We said, no, we got to have identity, and I want it. This is what I'm looking for. This is what we're going to go do. Let's get this done. Me and him talked, and there's some things that got done and some things that we're doing, and we're trying to create an identity on defense that's who we are and that's how we'll play.
Yeah, keep doing it. Whatever you were doing against Pittsburgh, keep doing it.
I asked him in our interview, Steve, and he said, you're going to see us fly around now. It's not going to be, we're going to swarm and fly around. And
they made good on that promise against Pittsburgh. It was great. They got pressure on the quarterback. They were flying around. The defense, again, did its job. The defense played well enough to win that game. Special teams and offense, it's three phases. The game's three phases. One of them was really good. Two of them were not.
I might say
you can't do that.
I might say my question was brilliant, by the way, when I asked what.
You deserve some flowers for that.
Thank you. Everybody deserves flowers for their takes. Steve, I don't know if you know that. Everybody, I'm going to cut up orange slices after the show.
Everybody gets an orange slice.
The whole chat can come and after
like the helmet sticker.
Yeah, after they're done and have orange slices. Our callers can just because they're big babies.
All right, that is our opening drive. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero. We're going to take our first time out. Phone lines open all of hour number one if you want to check in. 315-437-7644. We are back after this on ESPN Radio.
And Burdick Ford are proud supporters of game day radio coverage of Syracuse football.
Spatch and Louise, how are you? Whoa, 70 people almost. Hey guys, how are you? Oh, I'm tired. Everybody, I'd like you to know that I took Steve to a one of those smash rooms last night.
What's a smash room?
You never seen those? They give you a bat and you just break everything in the room?
I've not seen them, no.
I think there's one out in North Syracuse. Rage rooms, that's what they're called.
How long do you get in there?
A half hour. I watched my friend's kid do it, and the kid was just exhausted.
The parents probably like that.
Oh, it closed? They broke everything? There's one in Westvale Plaza. I wonder if it's where Skating Place used to be. I used to go to the Chinese restaurant up there all the time in Westvale Plaza when I lived on that side of town.
What was the
studio was a rage room yesterday. Never
what was
forget.
that restaurant? Kirby's?
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah. I used to like it there.
Never forget. 1020.
What?
Just a date we'll live in. I got to write the date down. Never forget #1020. It's our Pearl Harbor. The world will never be the same. Fairmount Glen, yeah, that's still there.
I just took JP to that. It's his favorite putt-putt now. He's been to like 4 different courses. That was his favorite one.
When we would come in the summer to visit like our grandparents and stuff from California, we used to go to the putt-putt that was behind the McDonald's on Erie Boulevard.
I've never been to that one.
I don't think it's there still.
Oh. We had my daughter's birthday party at that putt-putt in Fairmount. Maybe she was like 7 or 8, maybe. A long time ago.
Make a replica studio. Steve, just the word Steve would go ape shit. In the same sentence are funny. Yeah, Kevin, that's the one I remember. Yeah, us old people all remember the. I think it's closed down, Sports Boy. Oh, China Road's gone. I used to love that place. Does anybody remember a fast food joint called the Red Barn? Grandma on my dad's side used to take me to the Red Barn. I don't know if I'm dreaming it, but I could have sworn she used to take me to a burger place called the Red Barn.
Jack and G, I've been there before. China Cafe.
Taft
it's
Road,
very good.
Red Barn on Taft Road. Because I remember, like, when I went to my grandma's, she would pile me in the car and take me to the Red Barn.
Who's on the phone?
Taft and Buckley? How the hell do I know? Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Steve.
What?
I didn't mean to make you upset. Steve's like the Incredible Hulk. You won't like me when I'm angry. Today, we are doing Paulie's favorite love songs. Tomorrow will be Steve's. Don't accidentally get pregnant just listening to the show today. This is The System. It's R&B love songs. The System, Don't Disturb This Groove. I think it was 1987. This is basically, I am making a mixtape for our listeners to seduce them. Speaking of seductive things, let's go to Scooter. His voice is very seductive.
Scooter, what's up?
Him and Barry White right next to each other.
I wish I had Barry White's voice. Man, what a killer voice. You know, last week, he had an interesting talk show topic you guys touched on about people rooting for kind of quirky teams in this area. And I have a friend, we go back over 50 years, grew up together. And he's was a diehard Montreal Expos fan, combination Atlanta Falcons fan. And growing up, there was no cable. But Montreal Kingston had had the Montreal Expos game of the week on Wednesdays, and I grew up on the top of a hill. And this is the infamous foil on your TV, no cable. And I was able to get to Kingston, so he would come over and watch the Expos. And he became a Nationals fan just because of the Expos. So, Steve, you're talking about diehard National fans. He is definitely a diehard National fan.
Interesting.
And the Atlanta Falcons, an interesting kind of quirkiness. I don't know if it was TK99, but when Denver played Atlanta in the Super Bowl, there was a Super Bowl contest, and they could find a jersey for one of the hot models for Denver, but they couldn't find one for the Atlanta Falcons in the whole area, so they had a call out, and they actually used his jersey. He was the only one in the area, so they used his jersey for the other hot model for the Atlanta Falcons. So it was interesting, but he's a diehard. You go back to the late '60s. So interesting person. As far as the games go, first of all, I don't know if you caught the Minnesota and Nebraska game. That's what for all those Penn State fans who went Jeff Rule. That's what you get. He's going to have to bring an offensive coordinator with him if he's going to be successful. And that's why I'm a little bit worried about Nixon. If you get Rule, he's strictly, I thought, defense. And that game there, if you saw that game, man, they were just, 6 points against Minnesota. Ooh. But I'm glad finally Coach Brown admitted that we thought, at least I thought, it was never 50-50, I thought, when it came to quarterbacks, because you want to bring in another quarterback to invent a quarterback controversy. If we thought Ricky was ready to be the quarterback. Well, why bring somebody else in? So once they brought him in, it was great talk radio for the summer, but I knew he was starting, and I think he was heads or tails. And I've had them 5-2. You guys are talking about the record. I thought with a healthy and jelly, they could have beaten Duke. I think they definitely could have beaten Pittsburgh. And so that's 5-2, and so I thought they'd be 5-2 going into the Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech to me is kind of like a blue collar team. They're good, but they're methodical, and they really rely on the quarterback to do a lot of things. So I thought there was a possibility that we were playing well, especially offensively, that we could go toe to toe with them. But unfortunately, things do happen, and you're right, Paulie. This is more feeling like the first year, and I don't know. It sounded to me Coach Brown actually got on the defensive side in the last 2 weeks to help improve the defense. So I think he's smart. He knows that's where his strengths are, and he's going to let Nixon deal with the offense. And that's sometimes kind of hard when you got a defensive coordinator, kind of minded head coach, and he's at least allowing someone else to run the offense and don't get involved with that.
Yeah, I appreciate you checking in, as always, Scooter. And, he brings up Georgia Tech. And, yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they're in the top 10. Yes, they're very good, and Haynes King and all that. But you look at game by game their schedule, it doesn't blow you away. They beat Colorado by a possession in the opener by 27-20, by a touchdown. Then blew out Gardner-Webb. Then beat Clemson by a field goal. We keep saying, well, Clemson isn't as good as we thought. If that applies to Syracuse, that applies to Georgia Tech as well. They beat them by a field goal. They beat Temple easily. Temple's not very good. They beat Wake in overtime. Wake went for 2 to try and win the game and failed. They win that one 30-29. They beat Virginia Tech, who's not very good. And then, again, they were really outplayed for 3 quarters against Duke. And, Duke couldn't score. Georgia Tech had a really good fourth quarter, and they win the game. So, yes, they're good. Yes, they're better than Syracuse. Do I think they're unbeatable? No, I don't.
You can only win the games that are in front of you, Steve, and they've done that.
They have, but
beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
The Wake Forest game was a little dicey. The Duke game was dicey. Colorado game was a little dicey. This team's good. Do I think they're running the table? I mean, their schedule.
Like a Ginsu commercial right now with all these dicey slicing and dicing. Anything else dicey you want to tell us about?
No, I think that they are beatable. And I don't know, given their schedule, if they're going to lose because they've got Syracuse, NC State, BC, Pitt. That Pitt game is at home before they play Georgia. I mean, they're probably going to lose to Georgia, but by then it won't matter if they run the table. I don't know if they're going to lose, but I think it's quite possible they could get tripped up.
Okay. So what you're saying is,
I'm not saying it's going to be Syracuse, but
no. But you're saying you wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse won, though.
I would be surprised if Syracuse won. I wouldn't be surprised if collectively, if Georgia Tech didn't go 4-0, that wouldn't shock me.
See, I would not be surprised if Syracuse won any of the games besides maybe Notre Dame and Miami on the road. But,
Well, there's really only one other one because I think NC State, BC, we all look at them as winnable. So, you wouldn't
BC would shock me if they lost.
You wouldn't be surprised if they won Saturday. They're 18-point underdogs.
No.
It wouldn't surprise you.
Nothing that, no, because I've seen when everything's clicking for Fran Brown's system, they can beat anybody. So I wouldn't be surprised. It was just like, there was a point with Syracuse, I don't know if football's there yet, but I don't look at beating Georgia Tech. Come on. Beat them last year. It's the same.
So that's my point, saying that they're beatable. Like, Georgia Tech is good. Do I think they're the 7th best team in the country? No. Do I think they're a college football playoff team? I mean, they may go, but I don't know that they're, like I said, if they played Mississippi tomorrow, Ole Miss is winning that game by 3 scores, probably.
There's 2 separate ways of the way I'm wording this. I would not bet on this game for Syracuse to win, but I also wouldn't be surprised. There's 0 chance I would bet on it, but nothing surprises me. I've seen it all in my life. I've been around the block.
I, for the record, would be surprised if Syracuse beats Georgia Tech. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but that would surprise me. I'd be like, wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting them to win this game.
I'm not expecting it.
Okay, then it would surprise you.
No, it wouldn't. Wouldn't surprise me. You don't know me. You don't know how I feel. Just
definition of surprise: an unexpected or astonishing event.
Yeah, it's astonishing. It's not unexpected.
Unexpected.
Yeah. No.
I just said you just said I'm not expecting them to win either. You just said that.
Yeah.
So if it's unexpected, then it would be a surprise, according to the dictionary.
Now look at you.
Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah, okay.
I just called it up for your benefit. I was hoping
I can't believe you didn't know the definition without looking it up, Mr. 3-9.
Well, I was hoping the word unexpected was in there, and sure enough, it was.
Well,
so it proved my point.
I won't be surprised, no matter what the definition is, because it doesn't know my feelings.
Okay.
Tell Merriam-Webster that they don't know how I feel.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's a dictionary, not an emotional detector. I wouldn't be surprised. It was just like there was a time in Syracuse basketball, and I hope they get back to it. Like, I would not be surprised if they won any game on the road in Syracuse basketball. Like, everybody's like, oh, they're going to number 1 Louisville. They can't win there. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. Why couldn't they? It's not like that anymore. But hopefully they get back to it.
And maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year. I was.
Are you expecting? Would you be surprised if this is the year?
No, I wouldn't. I think they're pretty good this year.
I do too.
I think they're sneaky good, low key good, whatever you want to say. I think they got a lot of talent on this roster.
All right. Let's take a time out. We'll come back and we'll discuss that said topic, Syracuse basketball.
Okay. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Oh, look, who's your friend today?
That's funny, Philly. That's
hysterical.
No, it is. That is genuinely funny.
He got my friend mad.
What's your percentage chance? Because you're just
10,
right? So that would surprise. Right.
You're not even answering.
So that would surprise you then.
10%. It doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat anybody. All right. Like, I think Fran Brown can be this team.
You can't say 10% and say it's not surprising.
No, like 0% would be 0% would be surprised.
No. Like, yes, of course they have a chance to beat Georgia Tech. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say there's a 0% chance, but
no, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat.
Were you surprised that the Broncos came back and beat the Giants? Does that surprise you?
Yeah, that would, because I would not have expected that to happen.
So the Giants had a 99% chance.
That was one. That was way.
It was 1%.
That was 1%.
But you said 10%. That's not that much different.
For fuck's sake, guys! Don't make me snap. God forbid I have an opinion on something that you guys don't like. How would I word it then, Steve? How the fuck would I word it? Tell me, smart
You
man.
said
he wants you to build my vocabulary. Use the word I should be using in this situation where I wouldn't be surprised because they have a 10% chance of winning. All right, go ahead and give me the word.
So that's just it. Is like I think by you saying there's a 10% chance.
Okay,
that
it's 1%.
You would be surprised.
Okay, so yeah,
stunned, shocked. Like that's.
But what wouldn't I be? Like I wouldn't be surprised. What word should I have used there? Because I have a 10%. I used the right fucking word.
No, I don't think so. Because I think if there's something there's a 90% chance of something happening,
I would be moderately surprised.
I don't know. To me, surprise is something that's unexpected and something that's 90% chance of happening if it goes the other way.
So what is the word that is moderately surprised?
I think you just have to own up to the fact that you would be surprised if they won. That's what I'm saying. Like you would say, I am surprised. That would surprise me. It's not impossible, but that would surprise me.
Philly's Most Wanted. It's not about you. I'm not mad because of you. Get over yourself, you piece of garbage. I'm mad at Steve because he's the smartest guy on the earth.
I didn't say I was the smartest guy on the earth, but if something has a 10% chance of happening,
okay, I will not be surprised at all then.
So then you say, well, nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me.
Nothing surprises me.
Nothing surprises me. Okay, then nothing surprises me. Yeah, see, San Diego Q says 40% chance would be moderately surprised. A 10% chance, that would surprise most people. Most people would be surprised by that.
All right, I am going to be stunned, shocked,
yes,
flabbergasted.
That's a good word,
okay,
yes.
I will be flabbergasted. I think Steve and I both need to just go beat on something. I would be gobsmacked. Does he call me out for swearing during the breaks? No, he encourages it because that's what these breaks are for. We're on the internet. It's not even basketball season yet. Oh, the never gobsmacked, the never flabbergasted, the never surprised Paulie Sibilia and Stephen Fonte. I would be slightly taken aback. Is that okay?
Beside myself.
I would be, yes. Let's talk back. I was just screaming during the break. The past 2 days have literally sent each of us into a rage. It's not even basketball season yet. We're like a few days away. And basketball season is the worst.
Can be.
I
think this one's going to be better though, but it could be.
Yeah, but it does. People will still complain about just dumb things, and I'll say things like, I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse beat Duke, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I would. And you're using the word.
You know what? I do have to say I'm wrong about something. Now that I think about it, I said that I thought Fran Brown would get a pass this year no matter what. And you said, Steve, really? And I was like, no, like he just won 10 games. Like, of course, he's going to get a pass no matter what. And there's 7 games in, and I was wrong.
Do you not do this show with me every day?
I do, but I don't know.
You have a better image. See, this is where I say nothing surprises me, Steve. Yeah. Nothing does.
See, that surprised me. It's surprising me that somebody's writing a headline of, are you out on Fran Brown? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
like, give me a break.
I mean, the guy who wrote the article wasn't. I read the article, but just to be asking that question, and there are people that are angry and say he can't coach it. But sports radio is a cesspool of negativity. Nobody calls in to say, hey, when Syracuse beat Clemson, nobody was calling in to be like, you know what I liked? The way Fran Brown handled this situation and this. No, people aren't like that. We complain. All right?
Okay, so let's move on to basketball.
If you want an expert on negativity, Steve.
You're the guy?
I'm your man. I just winked at Steve.
Yes.
I think that's the first time I ever did that.
It was smooth. That was well
I'm your
done.
guy when it comes to negativity. Yeah.
All right. So first exhibition game coming up on Saturday. This is one of those things like I assume we're going to see pretty much everybody, Now, we believe that this is among the deepest teams that we've seen in a really long time, right? I mean, on paper, it looks like, okay, he's got to play, on down the list. How many guys do you think will get, I don't know, what's a good number? 5 or more minutes a game? 10 or more minutes a game? How deep will they go?
Sadiq White's going to play. Right. So if we go through our starters.
Right. So the way we laid this out is Nate George, J.J. Starling, Nate Kings, Donnie Freeman, William Kyle are the starters. I think we all agree that that's probably what it's going to look like. We could be wrong, but I think that's my best guess. I think that's probably your best guess as well. And then
I think the easiest one to know who will be getting time is the center position. I think that'll be pretty even.
Okay.
I would assume, right?
I would think so. I mean, so I think it depends on how they play, right?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest one where if you're going to play the both of them, they're both going to get.
Okay. So I'm with you on that. Both centers are going to play. So Soiree and Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously don't know much about Sheffing Diawara. But I would assume you're right, that you're going to see 2 centers. You're certainly going to see Sadiq White. You're certainly going to see Kyan Anthony. That's 8. And everything I'm hearing is that Tyler Betsy is really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he averaged 11 points per game at Cincinnati. Is he going to get – so if we set the line at 10 – oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say minutes. Thank you. If we set the line at 10 minutes per game, I would assume that Betsy's going to get more than that. Once you get past it, so that's 9. We're hearing good things about Luke Fennell as well.
I haven't heard anything.
Is he going to, but in order for him to be on the court, then that means that
Nate George is going to have to come off.
Right. Or JJ.
But I tend to think if JJ comes off, that's where Cayenne would go.
Could be. Right. Yeah. Could be. Right. You're assuming that Fennell's going to have the ball in his hands as the point guard. So do you really want to take Nate George off the court? So if we're putting the benchmark at 10 minutes per game, I would say Fennell's probably not going to get that.
No, I think he is a project. That's what I would put him as.
I think he's going to get some time. I think in the non-conference, I think we're going to see him a little bit. I don't think he's going to be a guy that we see 10 minutes or more per game, in the games that matter.
Yeah, from you say what you hear. From what I heard, he's a project, and
I know they like him. And do they like him enough to take Nate George off the floor for an extended period of time? Probably not. So I'm going to say no on him getting more than 10 minutes per game. But I'm pretty confident in the other guys.
Yeah.
I think they're going 9 deep.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the Bryce Zephyr kid either because he played 20 minutes at Montana State. Will he play? I don't know. Phillies Most Wanted says his overseas experience put him against pros. Yeah, it was the Austria. I mean, Devo said it was a good league, but Devo averaged like 42 in that league. So, you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
I think they like him. I don't know if how much will he play behind Nate George? If Nate George is as good as advertised, then Nate George is playing 33, 35 minutes a game, right? You would assume.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's a knock against Luke Fennell if he doesn't play a lot. I think it's more so, look at who he's stuck behind type of thing. And in the big games, you want your best players out there, and they're going to get a bulk of the minutes.
So, Steve, I'm seeing it right now. If I am right, if my prediction is right about Luke Fennell, he is going to be the call that we get. Why isn't he playing?
Why is he playing more? Is that what you're saying?
He is going to be the Ricky Collins of
Why was Nate
team.
George on the floor at the end of the game?
He is going to be the now Luke Carney of Syracuse basketball.
All right.
That's my prediction.
I think that's a pretty good prediction. Because I do think the other guys are going to play a lot. You know, and what that means, like, I don't know what to expect minutes-wise, like how it's going to be distributed, but I think they're going to have 9 guys who play a lot, you know, in a rotation, and then I think Fennell is probably on the outside of that, at least to start, and then you see how it goes. But if Nate George is as good as everybody says he is, I mean, he played 36 minutes per game last year at Georgia Tech.
Who is Fennell playing over? Cayenne?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Is he playing over Nate George? Is he playing over JJ?
If you're going to put him in the game, you want the ball in his hand. So you're probably, George is probably off the court.
I think he's going to be the odd man out this year.
Could be. Yeah, it could be.
He's not Peter Mastorovich, but he's going to be,
I think based on what I'm hearing, is that he's capable. I just don't know if he's going to get those kind of minutes because in order for him to be in the game, a really good player is going to have to sit on the bench. So we'll see how much he plays. Now, for these exhibition games, I think they're going to look at different combinations. They want to give everybody some run and opportunity, and it's a chance for everybody to kind of shake off the cobwebs here a little bit and get ready for the season. So I assume we're going to see him, and maybe we'll see a lot of him on Saturday. But when they get when push comes to shove, when they go to Vegas, I think that's when we're really going to learn what the rotation looks like. Towards the end of November there, and we'll get to see who are the guys that they truly trust.
And that's when everybody gets mad. See, I'm warning you now because you were surprised Fran Brown's getting grief. I'm warning you right now that when they get to that tournament in Vegas, if it goes down to, we're saying 9 will play. If it goes down to 8 or 7 in that tournament because they need experienced guys playing, it will be why in the heck.
You think the freshmen are going to be left out of that?
It's possible if they're struggling like freshmen tend to do. Yeah.
Because I think Betsy's going to play a lot. And I would assume that, as you said, the centers are probably going to split time. So that would mean that either Sadiq or Cayenne are not getting a lot of minutes.
If the freshmen are struggling this year, there's people that can play behind. Like, you're not going to be stuck with your, Chapo Moore playing.
I know that in the past, we would look at a roster and we would say, is this the year that Jim Boeheim plays more guys? And then inevitably it would always be, he played 7. I tend to believe Red this year when he says we could play 9 or 10. I genuinely believe that he plans to play, we just did the math here, 9, maybe 10, but I think he's going to play 9 on a regular basis.
They're playing against each other right now, and I don't know about that. He's coaching for his job this year, potentially.
But the way he wants to play, up-tempo, get after you defensively, like you can't, that's hard to have everybody play 38 minutes.
I get it, Steve, but there might be a point where you have to, because if freshmen are playing like freshmen, you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go with the guys that can get you
win games. Yeah. No, I get that. That's a fair point. That's why I think this first month of the season, from now until when they go to Vegas, it's really important. Yes, they have to blow out the teams that they're supposed to blow out, and we know that. But they also have to get those guys ready to contribute, because you might be able to get by. You go out to Vegas, you're playing 3 games. I think it's 3 games in 4 days, right? They have that 1 day off in between the first 2 and the last one. 3 games in 4 days. You might be able to get away with it against Tennessee in the ACC, SEC Challenge for 1 game. But to play 3 and 4 days at a high level against high-level competition, you're going to need more than 6 guys to play.
We'll see.
You disagree?
I don't know. Yeah. But if freshmen are playing like freshmen, I think they're...
Well, I guess my point is if you're playing 5 guys 38 minutes, by game 3, they're going to have nothing left.
I'll tell you this. If you got to get a win, you got to get a win.
And that third game might be the most important one, because that might be the one your best chance to win.
Yeah, I know, but you just gotta. I don't know, Steve. You just gotta play the guys. As Coach Boeheim used to say, they're college kids. They'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of minutes for anybody, though. In 3 games in 4 days, that's what is that? 120 minutes of basketball.
I just want to remember how everybody, Chapo Moore is going to be great, and he struggled. It
I
happens
understand.
to freshmen all the time, and you've got to win games.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I tend to believe him when he looks at the roster he has, that he's going to play 9. And I think my point is in a situation like Vegas, I think he has to play 9 guys, or he has to use his bench some. He can't just rely on 6 guys to get him through 3 games.
I think he's got to use whatever rotation is going to win him games.
Yeah,
whether it's 6, 7 guys or 9 guys.
Right.
So.
All right, we'll hit a timeout here. We'll check in on the market next, and we'll get to the top of the hour. Jim Root, college basketball writer, joins us at 1. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to Orange Nation. Today is my favorite R&B love song, Steve. You know this one?
I love this song.
This is Casanova by Levert. It's the Levert brothers, Gerald and whatever the other
I haven't
one.
thought about this song in 25 years. This is a good one.
Yeah, so if I was making a mixtape for
This
a
one would
lady,
be on it.
Yep, you're getting this.
All right. With that, let's check in on the market with our good friend Lee Baldwin from Lee Baldwin and Company. Lee, what's up today? How are you?
Hey guys, the Major League World Series is set on, so I'm rooting for Toronto.
Are you? Are you a Blue Jays fan, or are you're just rooting for the American League?
I'm rooting for the Blue Jays and the Canadians. They need something this year. Let's get Toronto in the victory column. So, but from the major leagues, we're going to the major averages. They all began the week with 1% gains across the board, and the rally caps are still on for today, so we're a little bit higher. Our diamond is GM up 15% as higher prices ease tariff pains, and our dog Lockheed Martin traded higher earlier, but now is down, even though they did increase their dividend. So there you have it.
All right. We appreciate great segue as well, Lee. Yes. I love that. Thank you very much for coming on as always. Enjoy what is a beautiful day here in Central New York.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
All right. Lee Baldwin. All of the diamonds, none of the dogs. Be sure to visit LeeBaldwin.com. And, Paulie, we can't forget
Some
about
of the dogs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would like to go
to the
Spooktacular Stroll.
Yes, it's wrapping up this week.
My dog is a diamond. Yes, it's the last week, Long Branch Park. Spooktacularstroll.com.
If you're going to do the voice, you got to commit to it. You got to commit to it.
I didn't even realize I was doing it. It just
kind of
Spooktacular Stroll.
There you go. Lean into it. All right, we're going to take a timeout. Jim Root, college basketball writer, joins us on the other side. We'll talk hoops with him next on ESPN Radio.
I'm actually a little embarrassed to be introducing these songs today in front of guests, which is funny. Where's my wallet? Steal my wallet, Steve? It's in my office. Did I share it with somebody because I'm a dumbass?
Kevin, I definitely did not sleep enough last night. Mike B, have a good day. Yeah, I mean, we had Monday Night Football on last night. I was at work until almost 1, and I was up pretty early. Yeah, Lukey Lou, he drinks more Diet Pepsi than anybody I know. When did you last have it?
I had it when I was to get into the parking lot.
You checked your car? Sometimes I leave it in my center console by accident.
I had to have brought it in here because I got into the office.
Swift Men, during the week, I get, 6 to 7. Last night, I probably got less than that. I got less than 6 last night. Yeah, I'm kind of dragging today.
Hour number 2 of Orange Nation on Slow Skate Day. My favorite love song, Steve.
This is number 1?
No. I said my favorite love songs.
Okay.
This one is on there. Apparently not R&B, but I said it is. It's a band called Breathe. How Can I Fall? I really liked you if this made your mixtape in 1988. You were a special lady.
You had the girls swooning over this?
Yeah.
Yes.
This would have been the lead song.
It's a good song. It's not R&B, but it's a good song.
It is R&B.
All right. With that, let's drive into our second hour. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW Cicero, and we are pleased to be joined right now by Jim Root, college basketball writer, podcaster, 3-man weave, and basket under review as we talk some ACC hoops. We talk some Syracuse hoops. Jim, let's start with Cuse. And I don't need to tell you this. It's obviously a very big year for this program, for this coaching staff, I'd say even for the fan base. It's been 4 years and counting since they last made the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts from the outside looking in on this SU squad this year?
I think there's a lot of talent here. I think that's kind of the first thing that jumps out to me is just looking at the roster on paper. I think Red Autry did a nice job of accumulating some pieces this year while also retaining a lot of the best guys from last year. Like getting Donnie Freeman to come back, I think, is a huge coup in this era of people leaving after 1 year and trying to find greener pastures. So getting him back is big time. And obviously J.J. Starling's been a productive player for multiple years there. The question just becomes, what does that actually become when you take the team on paper and put them onto a basketball court and pit them against an actual team that's trying to beat them? Over the past couple of years, it doesn't feel like Syracuse has had much of an identity, particularly on the defensive end. I think Autry decided early he was going to try to get away from the zone, the 2-3 days of Jim Boeheim's tenure. But then the man-to-man was a little sloppy. The rotations looked slow, and they were giving up a lot of layups and a lot of quick layups over the past couple of years. So they've just got to figure out how to tighten the screws on that end. They've decided if they're going to be a true man-to-man team or a zone team, and then let hopefully some of the talent level and the shooting and the creation that they are able to find in the portal this offseason and via the freshman class, which I think is an exciting group. Let that do the work on offense and just be able to be consistent in their effort on defense.
You talk about the two returning players, JJ and Donnie. How about the newcomers? Who stands out to you in that group? Is it Nate George, the freshman from Georgia Tech? Is it another player that they've brought in? What stands out to you from the transfer portal haul that they got in the offseason?
Yeah, I think George is probably the biggest name to mention. It should allow J.J. Starling to stay off the ball. Jaquan Carlos was kind of the point guard last year and Judah Mintz the year before, but Carlos was such a low usage guy, didn't have the scoring chops at this level. Now you bring in a guy that has been very productive in the ACC already in George. He's a terrific passer. He can shoot it a little bit. He can get into the rim. He's got a nice little floater game if he needs to go over the top of a shot blocker. And I think that should help Starling, just having another guy next to him where he's not as responsible for such a huge burden in the perimeter creation department. So getting George in there is big. And a guy I really like as just a good fit is Nate King, the transfer from Oregon State. He doesn't jump off the page at you with his production, only 12 points a game, just under 3 rebounds. But he's a perfect role player type where he knocks down shots at a really high clip. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He's going to defend. He can go up and down the lineup a little bit, guard some smaller guys, some bigger guys, give you some flexibility that way. So getting those two guys, I think, are really positive contributors, and King's a potential real big contributor to winning this year, which is definitely what Syracuse needs to do. Yeah,
the number that jumps off the page with him is that he was making, about 44% of his three-point attempts last year, which is something that this team desperately needs. It's been an issue the last couple of years, three-point shooting. When you look at the potential weaknesses of this team, Jim, do you still have a question mark about do they have enough shooting, or is it defense, rebounding? What's your biggest question mark with the Orange going into this new season?
Yeah, to me, it's defense. The last couple of years, I just haven't liked watching the way Syracuse is defended. It seems like guys are, prone to gambling and not is making a big effort to recover. Like they'll get out of position and they won't scramble to get back into the right spots. They gave up really short possessions the last 2 years. It's kind of like a niche stat, but teams were able to get shots early in the shot clock against them. Top 10 quickest possessions allowed in the last 2 years. And I think that just tells you that teams aren't having to work to find an open look. They're able to get out and run in transition a lot of the time, or even in the half court. They don't have to rotate the ball back and forth, side to side to find a good look. They're able to do that pretty quickly. And that's a little concerning to me for a team that basically flipped its style the last 2 years. In Autry's first season, they were really aggressive, forced a bunch of turnovers, were out on the perimeter. And then last year, they completely changed that. Were way more conservative. They let Eddie Lampkin stay near the rim and try to dominate the defensive glass. But still, both years, teams were able to get quick shots. And so they've got to be able to fix that, make teams work a little bit harder to find open looks, and then use that to get going in transition the other way, where I think they will be really good going in transition on offense this year. A lot of people look at this season as NCAA tournament or bust for Adrian Autry. Do you look at it like that, or do you envision a possibility or a scenario where Syracuse could be better, not make the tournament, and Adrian Autry still be the coach here? What are your thoughts about his situation here as head coach? Yeah, it's tricky because, he's got the ties to the university, he's kind of Jim Boeheim's guy, and you don't want to, disregard lightly everything Boeheim contributed to the school and to the program. So you don't want to just, hand wave him after 3 years. But this also is a program with great prestige and pretty solid resources. And just not being able to get wins in this era where you can rebuild your roster every single offseason, it feels like maybe it's not the right fit. And if it doesn't, even if the improvement is they get back to 20 wins like they had in Autry's first season, but they're not truly in the at-large conversation, that does feel like it's coming up short. I think it's got to be like a push towards the postseason where they're at least in the bubble mix, and those games down the stretch in February and early March mean something, and the ACC tournament run means something where it's a true progress, and you can project into the fourth year of Autry that one would maybe lead to an NCAA tournament bid. So I don't think they can just kind of tread water this year, especially with their resources. I think at that point they might have to look outside the Boeheim family and try to find a new hire. You look at the last 4 years, and the ACC's only gotten 4 or 5 teams in, each of those 4 years.
I think everybody kind of has the same top 5 in some order this year. Duke, Louisville, North Carolina, NC State, and Virginia. Everybody seems to be high on those 5 teams. If Syracuse is going to get in the tourney, do you think they are are they capable of getting in that tier of those 5, or do you think the ACC could potentially get 6 teams in, maybe even a 7th team in, depending on how the conference does this year?
Yeah, I think you could get a 6th or 7th. The SEC is not going to be what it was last year, where it got 14 teams in. That really helps. That opens up some bids. I think the Mountain West will be a little bit weaker, and I don't think the Big East is going to be all that strong in the middle with their bubble level teams. So that opens up a possibility for the ACC to kind of sneak up towards that 6 or 7 mark, and I think that's where Syracuse has got to find itself, because I'll echo a lot of the pundits that I love that top 5 that you mentioned. I think that group is really, really strong, but there's room for somebody else to come in and maybe get a couple wins against that top 5, particularly somebody with a really good home court like Syracuse has up there at the formerly Carrier Dome. So that I think could set up well for them to be a bubble caliber team with the roster that they have. They just got to win the games they should win. Can't take any of those bad losses in the non-conference. And then just take your shots at home when you get them against that top 5. If you can topple a Duke or a Louisville, it's going to look really, really good on Selection Sunday, and I think will age very well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Unfortunately, they play all 5 of those teams away in the month of February. They do have North Carolina. Yeah, they do. They've got North Carolina at home, but the rest of that group all away from the Dome in the month of February. So it's going to be a tough end of the season for Syracuse. You brought up Big East, and that's something that has come up time and time again on our show about the revenue share, the fact that a lot of those Big East teams don't have football, and that they can give all the resources they want to the sport of basketball. Do you envision in this new day and age of the revenue share and NIL and all that the Big East will in the next few years kind of rise up and get back to when Paulie and I were kids? I don't know how old you are, Jim, but we're about 50. When we were kids, the Big East was the premier basketball conference in the country. Do you think the conference can get back to that level given the new rules involved?
I think it's possible, and I think I was really high on that idea when I initially heard the rules of like, all right, every school just gets a $20 million cap to pay for their revenue share, and they can split it however they want. But then some smart people that know the economics of the sport a little more than me have kind of brought up that not having football also cuts into the amount they generate.
Sure, that's true.
And so maybe they're not going to be able to spend all the way up to the $20 million cap. And if they can, that's great, because then so much of it can go to basketball. But if they're not able to spend and bring in enough to spend that much, then I think they're going to be hamstrung in the same way that, or in a different way, I guess, than some of the SEC teams and Big Ten teams are that get all this money, but they've got to put a lot of it into football because that's the breadwinner.
Yeah, well said. When you look big picture, I know we talked a lot about SU and the ACC, but if we expand it out across the country, who are your title contenders this year? Who are the teams? Give me like 3 or 5 teams that you're highest on going into this new season.
I've kind of got a little slight tier at the top with 3 teams, and that's Houston, Florida, and Purdue. And obviously the Big Ten hasn't won a title since 2000, so maybe Purdue doesn't quite belong there. But there's been a lot of title appearances from the Big Ten over that span, and I think Purdue is going to be good enough to potentially get that done. I think they solved a lot of their defensive weaknesses last year with the portal additions, and then getting Daniel Jacobson, their 7'4" center, healthy. And then you've got a couple wild cards like Duke and UConn, where UConn just was below the standard of Dan Hurley last year for sure, but they have a lot of talent. Getting Silas Demery from Georgia was a great transfer nab, and then Braylon Mullins, the big-time shooting freshman, I think will be a big piece for them. And, of course, Duke, just always loaded. Great freshman class with the Boozer twins, Nick Caminia, and Dame Sarr, the Italian or the foreign product that they brought over, who's a potential first-round NBA pick. Those are probably my top 5. And then outside of that, I more of a wildcard. I like Texas Tech. I'm higher on St. John's than some computer rankings are. Those are the ones I'm looking at, the very cream of the crop nationally.
And then my last question is in regards to tournament expansion. I guess it's kind of a 2-part question. Do you like the idea of adding another 4, another 8 teams, whatever it ends up being? And what's the % chance this is going to happen in the next 3 years, let's say?
I'm sort of a grumpy Gus in that I don't want to expand. I just I like the format of the tournament already. I don't want to risk diluting the product that is such a golden goose for the NCAA and for the teams that make it, and all the excitement that gets around it with casual fans. If it gets a little bigger, I don't want people to be less interested in filling out a bracket and following along the first couple of days. But that probably won't happen, but I'm just I'm wary of it. I do think it's going to expand. I think it's relatively inevitable. I at this point, I'm treating it like the sunset and the sunrise. It's just something that's going to happen. And I admire the people who are adamantly fighting against it, and even the few that are super pro the expansion. It just kind of feels like with potential financial implications, the push of so many commissioners and coaches to get more teams in because it helps them with job security, just being able to say they made the tournament. There's enough people in power wanting it to happen that I've kind of resigned myself to the idea that it is going to come about very soon.
All right, Jim, really enjoyed having you on. Great insight. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the start of the season. Hopefully we can talk college hoops with you again as the season moves along.
Sounds great, guys. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Jim Root, college basketball writer, joining us here on the show. We'll hit a timeout here. We'll get to today's business on the other side. Jack McMullen, voice of the Miami Marlins, on with us at 1:30. We're back after this on ESPN Radio. I was talking to you guys, but my mic wasn't on. Sorry. You found it?
Yeah, I don't know how I got in the building.
Where was you? Was you in your car?
Sitting right on my driver's seat.
Yeah. San Diego Q's, I have not tried yoga. I've tried a lot of different supplements, but I have not tried yoga. I have not tried marijuana. So I didn't watch the debate live, but we had clips of it on the news last night, and I saw that. I saw the setup. It did look nice. I'll have to try that, San Diego Cuse. I will look into that. Ryan Mullen, I haven't really paid attention to the preseason all that much with the NBA, but I am glad to have basketball back in our lives. Favorite time of year.
All right, we got to let this one cook a little bit. Paulie's favorite love songs. You were special if I wanted to love you down. This is Ready for the World. You remember this one, Steve?
I do. Can you count on one hand how many girls got this song?
All of them.
You said you were special. They couldn't have all been special.
No, yeah, you were special, Steve. I was so shy around girls at high school, like I probably would have thrown the tape at her. Run away. I wasn't loving anybody down in high school. I can promise you that.
Once in a while, I think about people that are driving through Syracuse, like out-of-town people that are like, oh, I want sports radio, and then they flip to the ESPN station,
like,
and then they hear this out of the break. Like, there has to be one person out there that's just like, am I on the right station right now?
And then that same person is like, oh, man, I love this song. It's a good tune.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell that person that this is, in fact, sports radio.
I don't know what this show is, but I like it.
All of our listeners, we love you down.
I don't know if we should say all of them.
All of them.
Okay.
That was my ploy. Like, it's like everybody got a tape. Yeah, throw the net out. Just whatever.
See what
whatever
happens.
sticks. Yeah.
See what happens. All right, Tim is here now for today's business.
Yes, brought to you by Superior Plus Propane. NBA is back tonight. I heard Steve just talking about that during the break. I don't really get that excited about the NBA anymore, but it is a great time of year to have all four major sports going. Would you guys like to comment at all on any of the NFL takeaways from the weekend? Steve, as a Bills guy, does it worry you? It feels like the Chiefs are back fully.
Yes, it does worry me. They look really good. The Patriots are starting to become a concern of mine as well, especially because they beat them, and they would have the tiebreaker over the Bills at the moment.
Talk about easy schedules too.
Yeah,
they're like Virginia,
right?
Yeah.
They do play again in mid-December. I think the Bills are going to be fine. And again, we saw this last year; they lost back-to-back games, but the Patriots are better than I would like them to be. But in terms of like if we're talking Super Bowl and AFC Championship. My biggest concern right now, it's back to the Chiefs. And I thought they were going to be a little down this year, but now that they are healthy, it looks like they've got it clicking, and they're a problem again.
Also, we didn't really talk about this a ton yesterday, but shout out to Arondé Gadsden for the game he had. 164 yards receiving. I saw that was the fourth most ever by a rookie tight end in a game in NFL history. All three that have done it before are Pro Football Hall of Famers. Not saying he's going to be that, but still, that was great to see, and it sort of adds to what we've talked about, which is Syracuse is becoming more of a brand in the NFL, and the guys that were successful at Syracuse recently and were successful under Fran Brown and under Dino Babers are being successful in the NFL, and that's good for the program.
Very good for the program. I was watching the Bucks Lions last night, and on the Bucks you got Sean Tucker, you got Riley Dixon, Servassier Dennis, who's not an SU guy, but he's a CBA grad, and Vossi had a sack and 12 tackles. Riley Dixon, it felt like early in the game, was out there, every 4 minutes punting, and Tucker got a couple of touches. So. It was. By the way, I will say this in regards to the game last night. I know the Bucks went into the game with the best record in the NFC. The Lions, to me, and I know they've been a little bit inconsistent through the first 7 games, but I think they are the team to beat in the NFC. They seem like the best team out there, and that includes the Packers. Packers have been good. I think the Eagles are good. Niners, looked impressive this weekend, but I think the Lions will prove to be the best team in the NFC. Whether or not they can get it done in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl like the Bills, I don't know, but I think they're the most talented team out there.
Paul, you got a good kicker for us?
Yeah, so I was just thinking. It just came to me. I'm sitting here, and we're doing love songs, and I want to know if you guys know any of the top selling love songs of all time. I don't know the number 1 selling love song of all time. I don't think. I'm just looking at the name of it right now. It's from 1994, but I don't know it. It sold 1.19 million copies in 1994. You think you can name any of the 5?
Love Shack?
No, that's not a love song.
Top love songs of all time. Unchained Melody?
That is number 2, Steve. That's very good.
I don't know if that just popped into my head. I don't know where that came from.
No, number 3 is I Do It For You by Bryan Adams.
Oh, yeah. Is Whitney Houston on the list?
Number 4 is Anything Is Possible by Will Young. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston is number 5.
Wow, okay. Steve.
How about that?
Yeah.
So what is number 1?
The number 1 selling love song is called Love Is All Around by Wet, Wet, Wet.
I don't know the band.
Do we know that song?
I don't know.
Gosh, I hope it's number 1.
I don't know the song. How is that possible?
This is stats, like number 1 selling?
Yeah. Should I know this song?
1994?
It sounds vaguely familiar to me.
I got nothing.
Yeah, it was released in 94, 1.9 million copies. Unchained Melody, 1.89 million copies. Everything I Do, 1.87 million. And Anything Is Possible, 1.8. And I Will Always Love You, 1.6 million sold copies.
Interesting. I would not have we could have sat here until the end of time, and I would not have come up with that.
Getting 2 is pretty impressive, though. Props to you, Steve.
Thank you.
Give him his flowers.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Steve knows his love jams.
All right, let's hit a timeout here. We've got friend of the program, friend of ours, coaching tree, Jack McMullen. He will join us on the other side. Marlins play-by-play man. We'll talk baseball with Jack next on ESPN Radio.
The number 1 selling in UK also is Love Is All Around. And I will always love you. You guys like that voice? Yes, I'm making shit up. Yeah, something just died. A bunch of cats just committed suicide because of my singing. You want me to make a cameo for you and send it to you, CJC, where I sing? Love songs? Yeah, I Philly's Most Wanted. You know me so well. I'm so dead inside. I watch Sixers games a lot. He takes. I mean, I don't know as much about basketball as Philly's Most Wanted. He's a genius. He taught Coach K everything he knows. Yes, it's my show. I am the only one here that can be sarcastic. He did. He had a 3.9 in basketball. I have been to many practices for Q's basketball. I can take it, dude. Do you think I'm mad? Do you think I got mad at Steve earlier? That was me mad. When there was no word other than surprised I could use in that situation.
You weren't surprised.
I know CJC's sarcastic all the time, and I don't get mad at him because he doesn't come across as a condescending e-bag. I haven't been to this year's. I will probably go up this week. Yes, he is better than Carmelo. See, that's the other thing. Like, if I go to practice, I can't spill the beans. Steve approves.
A nod in approval.
I got the nod of approval on love songs. I'll Be Sure is a one-hit wonder. Did you know that? Can you feel it, baby? When you go just Billboard charts, he's only had one.
I did not know that.
One Billboard chart song.
He had a pretty good career for being a one-hit wonder.
Do you know he follows me on Twitter?
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Did you initiate it?
No, I don't know.
That matters.
I don't know why he follows me.
Was he like Artist of the Day one time, and we tagged him, and he followed
I don't know.
us?
Maybe he got word that I used him in all my mixtapes for the ladies.
I'm going to help this guy out.
This guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Maybe I can get him to, like, actually don't even need the mixtape. I could just shoot him a DM. Hey, I'll Be Sure. You want to come sing live for me?
Right.
Want to drop Night and Day on this chick for me?
All right. Speaking of guys who know what they're talking about, let's talk some baseball with our good friend Jack McMullen, host of the Just Baseball podcast and play-by-play man for the Miami Marlins. Jack, always great to chat with you. How are you today?
Great chatting with you guys. It's funny you're talking about Twitter followers because I saw the tweet for the show, and I happened to click on Paulie, and I realized Paulie doesn't follow me on Twitter. So
oh, no.
That was a perfect intro to the segment. Paulie, how are you, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm great. I feel terrible.
Well, now, why don't you go on?
I will follow you, and you know what? I'll drop a note to LB Sure and say he should follow you.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
You might gain a few
great.
followers from this. All right, let's start with Game 7 last night of the ALCS. Obviously, a phenomenal finish with the home run from George Springer and the way that place just erupted. Blue Jays going back to the World Series for the first time since '93. What stood out to you about that series, about that game, and about the heroics from George Springer?
Yeah, honestly, Springer. Springer was the one that jumped out to me. And I saw this note on the Fox telecast last night. That was George Springer's 9th go-ahead home run in his postseason career.
Wow.
And that's so hard for me to wrap my brain around. This guy's done that 9 times. Obviously, different level moments and different gravity attached to each situation. But this guy's done it 9 times. I mean, he is up there in terms of the greatest postseason performers, frankly, of all time. And I know that postseason numbers are kind of skewed because we play more postseason games now than we ever have before. But when you take a peek at the all-time postseason home run leaderboards, I mean, George Springer is up there. He's near Bernie Williams. He's near Jose Altuve. He's near a couple other guys that have been all-time great postseason performers for some of the best teams in the history of baseball. So Springer was the one that jumped out to me. The other one that jumps out to me is the depth that Toronto has. 1 through 9, they were impossible to put away, and they forced so many hard decisions on Dan Wilson, the Mariners manager. I saw this note earlier today. Blue Jays 5 through 9 hitters, so taking out the 4 big boppers at the top of the lineup, they're 5 through 9 hitters in ALCS game 3 through 7. Hit 333, drove in 20, and had a 950 OPS. So lineup depth and Springer, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., there's some magic there, and there were so many, World Series DVD moments that we saw happen yesterday.
We started the show talking about that moment from Springer, and I said to Paulie that, I'm watching him around the bases, and the place just go bonkers, and I'm thinking to myself, I wish that once in my life I could have a moment where the adrenaline is, coursing through my veins like that. And I know that, you have a job that you're not obviously the one hitting the home runs, but you have a job where you get to share in these moments. Have you had a moment like that yet? Maybe not quite to that degree, but has there been a moment that comes to mind for you where you as an announcer, as a play-by-play man, feel that adrenaline coursing through your veins like they did in that moment last night?
Yeah, honestly, you know what really helps? The Marlins play in a roof-closed environment. So you have all of this sound bouncing off of the roof and coming right back down. And I feel like that kind of accentuates the moment. So for me, so much of it is audible. So much of it is what I can hear, what I can say. There were some moments this year, like Kyle Stowers hit a walk-off grand slam, which was amazing. Marlins beat the Yankees 13-12 in the wildest game of the year, and it was a little walk-off swinging bunt that got the job done. So those kind of moments, you kick into that adrenaline mode, but obviously nothing comes close to that. I mean, that is a humongous homer in the biggest game for the Blue Jays in over 30 years and the biggest game in the history of the Seattle Mariners franchise. So still hunting that moment, and I guess if you were a baseball adrenaline junkie, that's probably the one that you hunt all your entire career.
Yeah, no doubt, and I hope that for you. I want that for you. I hope you get to experience something like that, and your career is just getting started. You got many more years ahead of you, so I hope it does happen. When you look at this Blue Jays team, you go back to last year. John Schneider, I think most looked at him as being on the hot seat. They were kind of in no man's land in that division. What do you attribute this turnaround to? You spoke a little bit about the depth of the lineup and whatnot. What has allowed them to go from being just a middle of the road team to now playing in the World Series this year?
I do think it's depth. I think you got to give a lot of credit to John Schneider. And you mentioned the hot seat thing. His seat was probably hotter than any other manager in Major League Baseball. The only other one that jumps out to me is Derek Shelton, who was in Pittsburgh at the beginning of the year, and Shelton got fired within 2 months of the season beginning. So John Schneider, the fact that they went from, at one point, 20 games back of the division leader in 2024 to winning the division and going to the World Series, winning a pennant in 2025, is a testament to their buy-in. Honestly, I thought they had a tremendous deadline. They added guys that they needed to. Louis Varland was their bullpen ace this postseason in this CS. Sir Anthony Dominguez was a great add as well. And then you take a peek at Shane Bieber at the front of that rotation, too. It felt like the guys necessary kind of helped push them over the top. But I had a great conversation with John Schneider when the Blue Jays were in Miami, and he dropped an acronym on me, WIN. What's important now? And I thought that was really cool. And that's something that the Blue Jays can live by pretty much every day. What's important now? You can live by that on a pitch-by-pitch basis. Bieber can say, what's important now? Well, it's executing this curveball in the dirt. What's important now? Well, it's squaring up a fastball up top. You can do it on a week-to-week basis. What's important now? Well, it's probably taking 2 or 3 from New York and taking it one day at a time. There are so many different ways to cut up that acronym and apply it to your life as a baseball player and as a baseball person. And I feel like John Schneider was steady Eddie through the hot seat conversation, and that had to pay dividends.
I like that a lot. I might use that in my own life, Paulie. WIN. What's important now? I like that a lot. Thank you for passing that along, Jack.
You bet.
On the other side of things, you look at the Mariners and it's heartbreak, right? They're so close. They're 9 outs away essentially, and just can't quite get it done. What did you think about the way that the bullpen was handled last night? Do you have any issue with any moves that were made, or is it just a case of Springer doing George Springer things?
I love Monday morning quarterbacking. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I will tell you this. That right there was Exhibit A as to why the traditional ninth-inning closer should be done away with by the majority of teams. There are some guys that are grandfathered in, like Aroldis Chapman is really only going to throw the ninth inning. When Craig Kimbrell was going, he's really only going to throw the ninth inning. It seemed like Paulie's Padres had Robert Suarez really only throw the ninth inning. But San Diego started to make that move with Mason Miller, who was their prized acquisition at the deadline, one of the best closers in baseball. What do they have him do? Well, if you run into the top of an opposing lineup in the 7th and you feel like that's the last time you're going to see that top third of the lineup, why not go to your best guy? The term I like now is bullpen ace. Why would you save your best reliever for the 9th inning when the 9th inning could be the 7, 8, and 9 hitters in the lineup? When you have the best hitter coming up for what you believe is the final time, you should probably go to your best reliever because you want best on best. You're going to toss and turn that following night if you put your option C reliever in against their option A hitter. You want to match up option A with option A. You want to match up option B with option B, so on and so forth. So I feel like for that Springer homer, when they lifted Brian Wu, they probably should have gone to Andres Munoz because, yes, he's their closer, but he's their best reliever. That right there was the perfect example of them not going to their best reliever in the spot that demanded their best reliever.
Yeah, well said. You look at this series now, the Dodgers, it feels like they flipped the switch. You saw a lot of the Dodgers this year. Is this going to be a series, or do you think the Dodgers make easy work of the Blue Jays?
I like to think that it's going to be a series. The big thing for me is what does the contact for Toronto look like? They put the ball in play as much as any team in baseball. They did it during the regular season. They've done it during the postseason. Major League average strikeout rate's about 22, 23%. They're about 14, 15%. So they are very good bat on ball. The Blue Jays are. The Dodgers are the premier strikeout team in Major League Baseball. And we just saw the Dodgers hold the Brewers to a batting average against, I think, under 120. It was the lowest mark in any series going 3 or more games in a long, long time. So that is kind of like best on best that we're talking about. It's the Dodger pitching and their ability to strike guys out against the Blue Jay lineup that doesn't strike out. If their contact is, early and it's soft, then we're not getting into that Dodger bullpen that has created issues. I mean, the whole idea of Toronto is stress the starters, get to the bullpen that's been shaky. But if the contact is early and soft, you could see Yamamoto go 9 again. You could see Snell go 8 again. That's the thing that I'm monitoring.
What's there to say about Shohei Ohtani? I mean, that performance that he put on Friday, I was telling somebody yesterday that we had our high school football show that night, and we couldn't show highlights anyway on News Channel 9 because it was a late game, and so I had a still up, and I kept updating the still from like 9:30 on. I was like, 1-for-1 home run, 4 strikeouts, and it's 2-for-2 now, and he's got 8 strikeouts, 3 for 3, 10 strikeouts. I mean, is that the type of performance? I feel like with Shohei, we're like, he's nothing surprises us with what he does. But are we ever going to see something like that again, Jack?
I mean, the only way we see something like that again is if he has a great day again. Like, I just don't think there's another human being that has been born, that may ever be born, that can do this to that level. If you want to see Babe Ruth reincarnated, I'd turn on your TV on Friday night. This guy is, it seems like it's general consensus, the most talented baseball player to ever grace this earth. And it seems like he is pushing higher and higher on that list of athletes in general. You start to do the cross-sport thing because it was 6 scoreless with 10 punch-outs on the mound, and it was 3 homers at the plate in a game to send you to the World Series. That's far and away better than any individual performance we've seen in a single game in the history of baseball, regular season or postseason. So then you start to get to, like, well, was Wilt's 100-point game more impressive? Like, you go to those things, and the fact that we're having that conversation less than a week removed from that game is ludicrous. But that's who he is. He might be elevating what Babe Ruth did 100 years ago, which is just hard for me to wrap my brain around.
Last one for you, Jack. We're getting the ABS system next year, as you well know. I like it. We cover AAA baseball here in town, and I think that the system works, and it doesn't really add that much time to the game at all. And I'm a big proponent of, if we can get it right, let's get it right. What do you make of it? Do you like the fact that there'll be some assistance with balls and strikes in key spots?
I do. I also had it for all 3 years that I was in Indianapolis at the AAA level, and I felt like I was kind of going through the experimental phase, which you guys have seen in Syracuse, where you saw Tuesday through Thursday games was the fully automated system where the umpire was just wearing an earpiece and they heard from like a Siri voice, ball or strike. That was no good. 3 challenges per game was too much. So then they got to this sweet spot of 2 available challenges per game. And I frankly love it. I think this is the way that it's going to be integrated, and I feel like we're just not looking back from this. There's a level of strategy there. There's also a level of checking your ego at the door there, which I love. I mean, if you've got a 35-year-old big league vet that lets his ego get in the way and he blows one of the challenges on a 1-1 pitch with nobody on in the top of the second, that's on him. And his teammates are looking at him saying, like, what the heck, dude? Like, why'd you burn that for us? So I love the strategy there. I also love the vetting process. And to be honest, I love the diffusal tactic. You have a problem with the home plate umpire, tap your helmet. Yeah. Like, you don't need to tell him he's bad at his job. Just tap your helmet, see if you're right, see if you're wrong. And that again is an ego check, which is really fun. So I think people are going to like it immediately. It's going to be that pitch clock level of, oh, darn, this is a lot better than I might have been initially anticipating.
Yeah, like that called third strike on Suarez last night. It looked like it was out of the strike zone. He had no other recourse but to yell at the ump and, trudge back to the dugout. If that's next year, he can say, okay, you know what? I'm challenging that, and he probably gets awarded first base in that instance. So, I'm looking forward to it as well. Jack, always great stuff. We love having you on. Enjoy the offseason. Continued success to you, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it, Paulie. I'm looking on Twitter, man.
I will follow you after the show.
What have you been doing the last 10 minutes?
I was trying to find Albie Sure to show you he's look.
Man.
Look, there's some famous people that follow me. I didn't even know it. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Oh, Jack's gone.
Alec Baldwin, the guy from Bizarre Foods, follows me, too. I don't know why.
Interesting. Okay.
Adam Zimmern and the guy who did the Man versus Food, he follows me too. So I don't know what the hell is going on.
Wow,
I'm very popular.
You are, yes.
Look at me,
very popular. It takes 2 seconds. Will you follow Jack right now during this commercial break, please? We'll wrap things up on the other side. We're back.
Why are you yelling at me like you're my parent?
No, I'm not, just you had 10 minutes. I thought it takes 2 seconds just to hit follow. Just hit the follow button.
All right, I will.
Okay. Make good on your promises.
You're awfully ornery lately.
Not sleeping well this week. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin actually likes me as a human. I've received a FaceTime for him. I think my phone number is in his phone. All right. There we go, Steve. Is that good?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to ask him about the Marlins taking the pitcher on the field like they made the playoffs after they knocked the Mets out. Yeah, I sleep better. I really don't care. I did a show with them. They were a part of my life for a year. Do you think of me at night? Is that why you're up all night? You're like, oh my God, I got to go work with that shitbag again? That guy who's never surprised?
No. So Spatch and Louise, my neck is definitely an issue. It's not as much pain as it's just it's like discomfort, if that makes any sense. That is part of it. And having a lot on my mind is also part of it. Just like not being able to shut down after the show and whatnot.
That was Daniel. That's why I did the show with Daniel. That's why I know them all. Yeah, he was in the car recently when Alec slammed into that tree.
You talk to him anymore?
Daniel, every once in a while, not much.
What's he do now?
He's got a very right-wing podcast that he does. Like, he was at the inauguration and stuff, the balls.
I have not, Jen. I have not been to a sleep clinic. Yeah, I know. Not getting enough sleep is a bad thing. I know. I'm trying.
Do you have your love songs done?
I have 6 of them. This is what happened.
What have you been doing the past 5 minutes?
I did an interview. Now I'm engaging with the chat.
You could have done that. You're not going to do your homework again.
No, I am. I have 6 of the 7. I emailed it to myself. When I get into work, I will finish.
Do you have a Josh Allen body pillow that you hug?
I don't. That might help.
This is my favorite love song of all time, Steve.
I Want to Be Your Man?
Yes, by Zapp and Roger. Let him cook.
Tim, have you ever heard this song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This was playing at Walgreens the other day.
Still confused. I haven't heard the #1 love song of all time, though.
We'll all survive.
Okay. Did you bust into a move at Walgreens?
I was singing along.
Yeah.
And this lady walked by me, and I didn't stop singing. I don't care. I sing at Wegmans, too. Oh, Wegmans plays bangers. I heard "Come On, Feel the Noise" in there the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I was like...
Seems like an odd song to grocery shop
No, it's
to.
just we're getting old. Like, those are... Roxette, Joyride was playing while I was shopping. That's another banger. What do you got going on your show today? Oprah Winfrey said it's a...
Oprah, really?
Yes, Oprah Winfrey's book club says it's a must listen.
Awesome. That's a big one. I'm going to talk a lot of basketball, I think, today. Top 5 burning questions about the Syracuse basketball season.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
No spoilers?
I mean...
You know what's burning in the basketball? Red's fanny from his hot seat.
I do think... I do feel like everyone we've had on from a national outside lens has kind of said the same thing. Like Jim Root, listening back to his comments just now, was kind of like, yeah, they got to at least show progress this year and play some meaningful games in March. As Sean Wildtek said, it's not tournament or bust. We're not getting that answer from the national lens.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that as well?
I have. And I think some of it might be you look at the top 5 teams and everybody seems to like those top 5, and it's going to be tough for somebody else to crack that group and so on and so forth, which I agree with. I mean, it's going to be tough. And then, as Jim is saying, well, maybe they can knock off one of those teams at home. They only have Carolina, right? The other 5 in the month of February anyway are all away from home. So it's a tough stretch. November's tough. February's tough. And, you hope that you can get enough done, against the quality competition to get you in. But, yeah, I think it is going to be tough to finish higher than those 5. So maybe, you got to hope 6 get in, 6 or 7. You hope you're
one of them.
Yeah, right. He's winked again. Second time he's winked at me today.
Yes. It's all this love songs. Got me winking at people. Feeling frisky.
What's tomorrow? What are
Steve's favorite love songs?
Oh,
I'm going to do my homework tonight.
He's got 6 done. He can't just write one more on the list and give it to me now.
I don't want to get it wrong. I told you that. I don't want to get it wrong.
Please don't forget, Steve.
I guarantee you 6 of those weren't even like I could have replaced those with any 6.
know.
And nobody would have known
But
they weren't my
I want to
favorites.
truly give you my top 7. Like the other day, I sent you my list. You fell asleep, didn't respond, and then I was able to replace one of my songs. It's like, oh no, and then I got it right.
Is this true?
I had my top 7.
Zombie Dude says Steve's list is long. He's made a lot of love.
Well, I do have 3 kids, so
there's at least 3 times. So yeah, Steve's got like a 24-disc changer still in his bedroom. That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to start making my yacht rock list because that'll be next. And then we'll do...
that'll be fun. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, 7 favorite songs of all time.
I don't know that I can do that.
It's going to be...
Now, let me ask you this. Can we do country?
Is it a song?
Yeah. But it's kind of like outside of our,
yes,
we don't normally play country.
Your 7 favorite songs.
Okay.
It can be classical music, Steve.
Okay.
Steve jamming to Beethoven.
Yeah.
Beethoven's 5th. That might be on there.
Yeah.
At number 5, Beethoven's 5th. All right. We got to go. Listen to Tim at 5. We are back at it noon tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody.